And Shabbat Shalom. Welcome back to the Virtual House Church. It's a blessing to be once again with you. It's my hope that you have been enjoying your Shabbat during today. You know, my Shabbat has been restful, wonderful, in a very nice day, sunny day. And we have been enjoying here at home with my wife, reading the Word of Yahuwah, sharing what the portion that we are going to study today is about. And you know, it's part of Shabbat today. Lately, is to be in the Virtual House Church. You know, we have been doing this for more than a year, almost 2 years, and you know, it's an important part of Shabbat. So it's my blessing to be here with you all. I see 48 of you joining us today, and that's a tremendous blessing. And I hope that we are going to enjoy the study today. And like always, we are praying to Yahuwah that He is going to be the one guiding us, leading us in the study of His Word. So far, I don't know if Jake is going to join us. I haven't heard about him, but if he join us, it's going to be a blessing. So I'm going to be very attentive to the Zoom call. But in the meantime, you know, we're gonna begin with the study, and as always, you know, it's part of the routine, but it's something really important to remember. It's about the Virtual House Church website, and let me share it with you all. As we know, Virtual House Church is a project that our dear brother Rob Skiva started back in 2012 with his wife, Chil Skiva. And, you know, has been a tremendous blessing to me, to my life, to the life of all of us that we are joining, and to the life of many other brothers and sisters around the world that were able to join Virtual House Church in the past, to get in touch to Virtual House Church, to get in touch of the service that Rob did for Yahuwah. And you know, this Virtual House Church website is so rich on information that, as I'm telling you every week, and I'm not gonna be tired and bored to say this every week, I'm gonna invite you to go to the Virtual House Church to go into the details of all the information that Rob collected throughout the years in each one of the portions of Torah. You know, started on the Bereshit, Genesis, week number 1, until Devarim, Deuteronomy, in the last week of the Torah cycle year, to study the word of Yahuwah, and to not only study, as I have been repeating to you week by week, to share this side with others. You know, this is the time that we need to shine the light of Yahuwah in this world full of darkness. This is the least we can do, is to share with others that we see that they are seeking for truth, seeking for the way of Yahuwah, seeking to understand His word. You know, the least we can do to help a brother that is just starting in the way of Yahuwah is to direct them to this side, and to help them in order to start studying the word of Yahuwah. And this site is an amazing way to start with. And you know, I was checking, you know, in this map last week, and I was checking also again before the broadcast. And it's so nice and beautiful to see, you know, so many blue dots here in this map, to see how many people have been awakened to the truth of the word of Yahweh. And you know, it's so compelling to see. And most probably, there's not everybody here in this map. Most probably, there are more people that have been awakened to the truth of the way of Yahuwah that are not visible here. That it make it even more wonderful, because we see so many people around the world in different places that is so easy and beautiful to see and understand the truthful and the faithfulness of Yahuwah through His word, because He said that He is going to gather us from the four corners of the earth. And we see here that in fact, we are in the four corners of the earth. In fact, we are in different places of the world, and it's going to become a reality what Yahuwah said through his servants, that he is gonna gather us from different places from the world. And I just saw a comment here that there's no one from Russia. That's true, but last week we saw that thing is this person, this brother, that in which country he is in Russia. So, this is amazing. Most probably we don't see everybody here, but at least there's one brother that is from Russia and is over there. But I was taking a look before the broadcast, and in Australia, and we know that with all the craziness that is going on in the world, that Australia has been impacted very hard lately. But even though we see a lot of our brothers and sisters over there, so we need to keep them in our prayers, that Yahuwah can be with them in this time of troubles. And I see many of them here with these blue dots that are being awakened to the truth of Yahuwah. And as I said, we need to pray for them, but not only for our brothers and sisters in Australia. We need to pray for everybody in the world. We are living in very challenging times, and most probably you are following the news. We need to understand, and let me put my camera again. We need to understand and be discerned everything that we are hearing and we are seeing, and because we are living in times of deceit, and it's important that we seek the face of Yahuwah, His Ruach, in order to understand, to discern what is true and what is not. And, we have been discussing and talking about this for a long period of time. The ground is so prepared and is being prepared even more for the full fulfillment of the word of Yahuwah. And this is something that we need to be so grateful, because and not to be fearful, as we have been studying, especially in this book of Joshua. And why grateful? Because we know that if the word of Yahuwah is being fulfilled, the prophecies of the last days are being fulfilled in front of our eyes, we need to hold fast to those prophecies and those promises, that no matter the difficulties that we are going through, no matter the difficulties that are going to be increasing and increasing, Yahuwah is with us, and He made promises to His people. And the part of the promises to His people, amazingly, we will see it in this portion as well, that He will take us from the system of the world. He will gather us in order to inherit the promises, in order to inherit the kingdom of Yahuwah. And last week it was a very beautiful and interesting study, just to understand that the challenges are increasing in the same way that the challenges were increasing for that generation that we're studying in the book of Joshua. And despite that the challenges were increasing, also the mercy, the compassion, and the power, the strength of Yahuwah was also increasing in order to help His people. And that needs to be our faith, that needs to be our strength, that Yahuwah will be with us no matter what's happening, no matter what's going to happen in the near future. But we need to keep our eyes open, our ears very open, to understand and discern the times. And I'm going to share this with you before continuing. It's something that has been in my heart for a while, and most probably we touched this point somehow in previous broadcast. And we were discussing here at home a few days ago about the fulfillments of the end times, the mark of the beast, the beast itself, the system of the beast, and so on. And what's been in my heart that I want to share with you is that as we have been reading in the past in the prophecy of the last days from the Yahushua HaMashiach that is written in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, is that even the chosen one can be deceived. Let me look for it, because this is important. Let's read exactly what Yahushua said. And I'm sorry to start discussing something totally different to the portion, but it's been in my heart because of a reason, and I would like to spend even more, not today, because that will require more study, and maybe to retake the study that I started in the past for the last days, the video studies, this amazing series for the last days, where I was building, creating a timeline with the chronology of events of the last days. But doing those studies required prayer, fasting, and a lot of time in order to go deeper and deeper into the word of Yahuwah. But maybe something that we will need to do. I'm just looking for the verse. Is here. Okay, it's Matthew chapter 24, verse 24. Let me put the scripture here in the screen. Just give me a second. So here we go. Matthew chapter 24, verse 24. So I think we were reading this last week, but let's read it again. For false messiahs and false prophets shall arise, and they shall show great signs and wonders, so as to lead astray, if possible, even the chosen ones. So what's been in my heart, and again, sorry to be repetitive, is that is something that we need to pray about it. It's something that we need to study about. It's something we need to seek the face of Yahuwah about. Is that if Yahushua HaMashiach said that even the chosen ones could be deceived, it's because the fulfillment of the end times prophecies could be so subtle that no matter that we are learned in the prophecies, no matter that we are seeking for a specific type of fulfillment, if Yahushua said that even the chosen ones, those ones that they are learned and understand the prophecies and are looking and seeking for something specific, could be deceived, is that maybe we are not seeing and understanding properly how prophecy will be fulfilled. We all understand that the beast will arise. This is what is written in Revelation. It is written in the book of Daniel. It is written in different places of the word of Yahuwah. We are looking and seeking for this one person, the anti-Mashiach, that is going to rise and going to lead the system of the beast. We are looking for the false prophet, because this is what we have been waiting for and understanding for, according to the prophecies in the book of Revelation. And we are looking to see what's going to be the mark of the beast, in order not to be deceived, as I see in the chat. For sure, we are the chosen ones of Yahuwah. Yahuwah has been working through us throughout all these years in order to be part of his light, to be children of light and not children of darkness. And as Paul said, that all these things are not gonna find us in blindness, because Yahuwah has been opening our eyes. We cannot say and be arrogant to say that we are fully eyes open, because that's not true. We are in the way to learn. We are in the way that Yahuwah is teaching us and open our understanding and open our eyes. So when I see this verse, that Yahushua is saying that even these false prophets are going to do all these wonders, even if possible, to deceive the chosen ones, it's something that is turning on the alarms and the bells within me, that maybe it's time to go deeper once again into understanding the word of Yahuwah, understanding that maybe all the fulfillment is going to be so subtle that maybe we are expecting for a specific type of fulfillment, while the fulfillment is going to be a little bit different to what we are expecting for. And if that's true, we can be deceived. And that's what's been in my heart, and once again, sorry to bring this up, but for one reason I'm speaking out about this. It's been in my heart, and I'm sharing this with you because the time we are living is so difficult. Lies are all over the place. Deceit is all over the place, and we need to seek for discernment. We need to seek for guidance of the Ruach. We need to seek for understanding directly from Abba. Is that just understand how the events of today are related and connected to the fulfillment of the word of Yahuwah. Something that has been in my heart as well, and I found something interesting in the word of Yahuwah is about what's going on in this volcano that is not stopping in La Palma. I get in touch with some studies a few weeks ago that they were comparing about one of the results and the fulfillments of the trumpets according to the prophecies in Revelation that was so related to this mountain full of fire. But once again, in my understanding of the last days, we need to have the seals open first before the trumpets. But once again, could it be that my understanding is wrong? This is exactly what is in my heart, brothers and sisters, and this is what I want to share with you and to invite you to pray for it. Because in order not to be deceived, we need to have the wisdom, discernment of the Ruach HaKodesh in order to understand that maybe these things are going to be so subtle, and we need to have our ears, our eyes, our understanding open to see it. Those who has eyes to see will be able to see. So, but I was able to connect some dots with what's going on in this volcano, and it's connected to Babylon. I'm planning to prepare a study about it. So wait for it. My time is very limited. It's good that I have the time in Shabbat in order to share with you, brothers and sisters. I'm doing many stuff in my personal life, and also having limited time because of my regular work. But I will find a way, because I think it's important that we start to speak up and to share. The times that we are living is pushing us to shine the light of Yahuwah. So everything that we are receiving, no matter that if we are confident that it's true or not, it's important we share it. If you are having dreams, visions, you need to share with others in the family of Yahuwah, from the people of Yahuwah, because that's going to be the way that Yahuwah will speak to his people. We have different services. We are the different ideas on work and job to do in this in the people of Yahuwah. That's why we are the different members of the body. So it's important that we are giving this feedback and this information to others, because in that way we're going to be able to put the puzzle all together, because Yahuwah will speak to all of us. So, brothers and sisters, I don't know again why I'm sharing this with you, but put this into your prayers. We need to ask Yahuwah to guide us and give us the discernment in these last days. And what's happening with these variants and so on. I'm not going to be specific about the wording, but you know what I'm talking about. It's something that we're expecting. Restriction will come again. More pushback will come to those that are not following the current of the system of the world. But this is just one more evidence of the time that we are living. But once I heard this, and I think it's something very, very important that needs to be our attitude. We see the world today divided somehow in two camps. When we talk about the politics, when we talk about the health things, when we talk about the economy and the many other aspects, we can differentiate in two different groups. And both groups are part of the system of the world, and they are colliding somehow. But what I heard, and it touched my heart, that I do believe it should be our attitude in these days, is that we are not part of the world. We have been called out from Yahuwah to be out of this world. We are in this world, but we are not part of it. So what it means is that everything that's happening in the world, we cannot be part of any of these groups. We need to be observants of what's happening. We cannot be in this group or in this other group. We need to be observant and to be with our open eyes, seeing what's going on. Why? We need to have this attitude. Because we cannot be part of the world. We are not of the world. We are part of the world and the kingdom of Yahuwah. So our way of life is different. Our attitude is different. Our promises are different. Our hope is different. So we need to be with our eyes open, seeing what's going on in the world, with the only objective to understand and discern the times we are living. Not to be afraid, not to be concerned, not to take part on any situation of any of the attitude of these groups. Just to observe what's going on, just to observe the times we are living, just to make the right decision with the guidance of the Ruach HaKodesh about what we need to do in order to discern the times and the fulfillments of the prophecies. That needs to be your attitude, because this is the calling we have received from Abba, to be out of the world, not with fear, with hope. But what's coming is better. And what's coming, you know as well as myself. What's coming is coming. The real world order is not the fake one that the system wants to implement. It's coming, the real one. And the real one is the kingdom of Yahuwah, with the real king, the rightful king, is the King of Kings and Lord of Lords is Yahushua HaMashiach. So after this long introduction, we are going to start with the portion. But as we have been doing in the past, I want to share with you a song, and after that we are going to dig into this portion of today. I have few notes here that we were discussing here at home, but as I told you last week, we will let the Ruach speak, and let's see what he's bringing to my heart, to your heart. If you want to share something, we have 112 of you already connected. Thank you so much for being here with me. So you have something to share, go and write it down in the chat. And something that I always forget, and Karen, forgive me about this, and I'm gonna say it now before I forget again. Is about the Discord server. If you want to continue fellowship after this broadcast, go and join the Discord server. That I understand that the fellowship is continuing over there, and you will have the chance to share what is in your heart. And as I said before, if you're receiving dreams, visions, and something that Yahuwah is putting in your heart, I think that's a very good platform, as well as the chat here, in order for you to share with others. So before I forget, Karen, please just put the link later on about the Discord server. or any of the moderators, please. So you want to continue with the fellowship, this is a tremendous platform you can go in and share with others. So let me share the song with you. It's a beautiful song, and let's praise Yahuwah through it. So here we go.
משך אדוני אותי לבשר הנביא, שלחני לחבוש לנשברי לב, לקרוא לשבויים דרור, ולאסורים פקח כוח, לקרוא שנת רצון לאדוני, ויום נקם לאלוהינו, לנחם כל האבלים, לשום לאבלי ציון, לתת להם פאר תחת אפר, שמן ששון תחת אבן, מטה תהילה תחת רוח כהה, רוח אדוני עליי, ים משך אדוני אותי לבשר הנביא, שלחני לחבוש לנשברי לב, לקרוא לשבויים דרור, ולאסורים קח כוח, לקרוא שנת רצון לאדוני, ויום נקם לאלוהינו, לנחם כל האבלים, לשום לאבלי ציון, לתת להם פאר תחת אפר, שמן ששון תחת אבן, מטה תהילה תחת רוח כהה, לשום לאבלי ציון, לתת להם פאר תחת אפר, שמן ששון תחת אבן, מטה תהילה תחת רוח כהה. מטה תהילה תחת רוח כהה, תחת רוח כהה.
And with that spirit, I will invite you to close your eyes, to lift your hands to heaven, and let's pray together to Yahuwah. Abba Tov, Abba Kadosh, we want to give you all praise in this moment, in this new Shabbat, because we have the opportunity to gather once again with the purpose in our heart to study your word, to honor you, Abba. We pray to you in these times of difficulties, challenges, and troubles, in the times when we need you the most. Asking you, Abba, that your presence be with us wherever we go. That your Ruach HaKodesh can lead us and guide us in everything we do, in order to make sure that we are doing what is right before your eyes. We ask you, Abba, that you can be with us, that your presence be with us in these studies, that you can speak to our hearts, especially in these times when we need your guidance. We ask you, Abba, for your people in the four corners of the earth, because we need you more than ever, Abba. We need you to strengthen us, strengthen our faith, strengthen our convictions, strengthen our hope. We believe in you with all our heart. We have given our lives to you through Yahushua HaMashiach. And we are so thankful, Abba, to have our eyes open to your truth. We are so thankful to be part of your people, because through the offering of Yahushua HaMashiach in the tree, we have the door open in order to come back to you. And we do it with all our hearts, seeking your promises, seeking your face, understanding that we are not part of this world, understanding that you have called us to be part of your kingdom. And we want to be part of that kingdom, even physically, when Yahushua is coming to establish it here on earth. Abba, we ask you for those in the troubles, those that are going through sickness, that you can be with them. You can go with your healing hand and heal their hearts, heal their diseases, that you can reestablish their health. Also that are going through difficulties and needs, that you can provide to them. That we can shine your light in this world full of darkness. That we can establish the foundation of your truth through the studies here in Virtual House Church. That you can make us echad in you through your Ruach. We lift up our voices, Abba, to you, the only true Elohim, Yahuwah Sebaot. And we do it in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, Malkeinu. Amen. Okay, so let's start. So let's go to the book of Joshua. And the portion today is going through the chapter 14 until the end of chapter 17. And we have called it Nachalu Yisra'el Be'eretz. Nachalu Yisra'el Be'eretz. That it means Yisrael inherited in the land. And we see the process here in this book of Joshua, in this chapter 14, how Israel started to receive the promise. After so many difficulties in the wilderness for 40 years, after so many fights, with the 7 nations, we have been studying this in the past few weeks. After all these big challenges that they were facing day by day, and as I said last week and said at the beginning of this broadcast, the challenges were increasing and increasing. After all of that, they didn't lose heart. They didn't lose heart. They endured until the end. And this is so relevant to the days we are living, and this is so relevant, aligned to the words of Yahushua HaMashiach, that he is telling you and telling me that we need to endure until the end in order to inherit the promises, in order to inherit eternal life, and in order to inherit the kingdom of Yahuwah. They did it. They endured until the end, holding fast to promises. And we see in this portion, starting in the chapter 14, how they started to receive the inheritance. We know that 2.5 tribes, they already received part of the inheritance in the other side of the Jordan, when the Moshe was giving them part of the inheritance, but also was instructing them that they were not able to inherit completely until they were helping their brothers and sisters to receive their inheritance. So they were part of this process. We were discussing here at home, because it's not written yet. I think it's coming in the next few portions, that they needed to leave these 2.5 tribes. They needed to leave everything behind: wife, children, possessions, in order to go and help the brothers and sisters to inherit the land. And they were part of all these battles with all these kings of the 7 nations that we have been studying for the last few weeks. They were there. And this is part of what is our calling as well, that if we want to follow Yahushua HaMashiach, we need to leave everything behind. And what it means is that, our top priority, the most important thing in our life, needs to be Him. It doesn't mean that we need to leave everything physically. Sometimes He's pushing us in directions that we don't like and we don't know. And sometimes there are physical separation. We see multiple examples in the scripture of what I'm saying. But this is not the full intention, unless Yahuwah has a different plan for us. The intention of those words is that we need to put our full focus, the top priority of our lives needs to be the righteousness of the kingdom of Yahuwah and His kingdom. And this is exactly what these 2.5 tribes did. And even they were waiting for their brothers to start receiving the inheritance. And this is exactly what we see in the chapter 14. And let me put the scripture over here. So, we're going to read part of it. Chapter 15 and 16 mostly is listing the different cities and lands and borders. We are not going to go through there. It's important you go in your own study, because there are many important aspects over there. And especially, something that my wife likes to do always, and I don't do it so much, and I will invite you to do it. I have to do it as well, is that we need to look into the meaning of the names. Because the meaning of the names has a profound, even deeper and a profound meaning that sometimes is revealing more to understanding to us. So it could be that maybe in the list of the name of the cities and also the places and the borders, that maybe is something that we need to look into it and also to understand. So I will invite you to go there. So, we are going to start reading the chapter 14. I'm going to start sharing with you some of the highlights that I got in my heart for today. So let's read together, and let me put this letter a little bit, the font a little bit bigger, so it's going to be much easier to read. So it says, starting in 14 verse 1, "Now these, the children of Yisra'el, inherited in the land of Canaan, which Eleazar the priest, and Yahushua son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel caused them to inherit. Their inheritance was by lot, as Yahuwah had commanded by the hand of Moshe, for the 9 tribes and the half-tribe. For Moshe had given the inheritance of the 2 tribes and the half-tribe beyond the Jordan, but to the Levites he gave no inheritance in their midst." And I want to stop here for a while, because we see something for me is really important and interesting to highlight. We see here that basically the inheritance that the children of Israel receive for sure is coming from Yahuwah, but Yahuwah, we know that He's working through His servants. And in this case, we see Eleazar the priest. Yahushua ben Nun, that he was serving as a shofet, a judge, because in those times they didn't have a king yet, was the figure of the shofet, the judge, and also the leaders, the heads of the fathers of the tribes. And for me, this is such a beautiful picture, because we know, and I have been saying this for a while already here in Virtual House Church, is that these two roles of the priest and the king are being joined together. Yahuwah has been doing an amazing work throughout the centuries in order to make these two roles echad, to make it one. And that's why in Yahushua HaMashiach we have these two roles joined together in one person, with Yahushua HaMashiach being the Kohen HaGadol, the high priest, and also the Melech, the king. And when we see it in this way, we see this amazing picture and foreshadow of what's coming in our time. You know, it was the priest and the king, quotation mark, the shofet, the one making the people to inherit their portions. And we know that our king, our priest, is the one that is going to give us our inheritance. And I want to just to reinforce this idea, going to two passages in the scripture. Let's go first to the book of John, Yahuchanan in Hebrew, the book of John, chapter 14, verse 1 to verse 4. And Yahushua said the following: Let not your heart be troubled. Believe in Elohim. Believe also in me. In my Father's house are many staying places, and if not, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I shall come again and receive you to myself, that where I am, you might be too. And where I go, you know, and the way you know. You know, this is sometimes, you know, in Christianity, it has been taken for centuries that this is part of the passages that we are going to inherit heaven. And you know, when we study in more details the word of Yahuwah, we get to the realization that the true promise is the land, that Yahuwah created man in order to govern the earth, in order to administer, to manage his creation. And we know that Yahushua is coming, his second coming is coming to what? Is coming to establish the kingdom of heaven here on earth. So when he's saying in this passage that he's going to prepare a place for us, it's because he's coming back with this place prepared. And as soon the place is being established here, we are going to inherit that place as well. So when we compare to what we see here in this portion, we see Yahushua ben Nun together with the priest, the shofet and the priest. And we see this foreshadow of Yahushua HaMashiach preparing the place, a place for our inheritance. And he is the one that is going to make us inherit that place. And you know, in his own words, he said, so easily to understand. When we go to the book of Matthew, this is Matthew Yahu in Hebrew, chapter 25, verse 33 and 34. This is an amazing parable that we have read in the past already. But it's important to keep it in mind, especially because of what is written in this portion in the book of Joshua. So it says in the verse 33 and 34, and you can read this in context, is because it's the judgment seat of Yahushua with the goats and the sheep in one side and the other. So it says in the verse 33, And he shall set the sheep on his right hand, but the goats on the left. Then the sovereign, the Melech, shall say to those on his right hand, Come, you blessed of my Father, inherit the reign prepared for you from the foundation of the world. So who is going to be the one making the children of Israel to inherit once again the land, the kingdom? Is going to be the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, Yahushua HaMashiach, the high priest, Yahushua HaMashiach, the Melech Yisra'el, the king of Israel and the king of the world. So, when I was reading this first passage, it came to my mind this amazing foreshadow, and this is part of our hope. As I was saying at the beginning of the broadcast, no matter what's happening in the world, we need to understand that we are out of the world. We are not part of the system of the world. And our promise and our hope is in that kingdom. And in the same way of this generation, we're expecting for that day they were going to receive the inheritance and the promises is exactly the same expectation we have in these days. We have been waiting for so long, but we will need to wait all the time that is needed with the hope in our heart that that promise will be fulfilled and that we are going to inherit the land and the kingdom in the same way that this generation did it. After all the challenges they faced, after all the challenges we will face, we will inherit in the same way that they will inherit in the past. And in this case, it's going to be by the hand of the rightful king, Yahushua HaMashiach. So let's continue reading to see what else we can find here that is interesting. So it says in the verse 4, For the children of Joseph had become two tribes, Menashe and Ephraim, and they gave no part to the Levites in the land, except cities to dwell in, with their open land for their livestock and their possession. As Yahuwah had commanded Moshe, so the children of Israel did, and they divided the land. So, we have two places here that is repeating something very important. Beside what is written in the verse 5, that it was Yahuwah the one commanding Moshe how they needed to split the land, how they needed to inherit. And that was the way that they divided the land, according to what Yahuwah gave in revelation to Moses and he gave to Yahushua ben Nun. But what is being said twice here is about the Levites. And this is something that every time that I'm reading is touching my heart, because it's something beautiful and not only in the deeper meaning of what it says about the Levites, it's also in what is coming in the future and the fulfillment, what's going to happen in the future for them. And it's basically the priests, they did have no land. It says, and they gave no part to the Levites in the land, except cities to dwell in, with their open land for their livestock and their possession. And the same thing we see here in the verse 3. But to the Levites he gave no inheritance in their midst. And most probably you remember the reason that they didn't receive any land. But I want to reinforce and remind ourselves, going directly to the scripture, so we will read it once again, why they didn't receive land. So let's go to the first testimony. This is in the book of Devarim, Deuteronomy, chapter 10, verse 8 and 9. And it says the following. At that time, Yahuwah separated the tribe of Levi, or Levi, to bear the ark of the covenant of Yahuwah, to stand before Yahuwah, to serve him, and to bless in his name to this day. Therefore, Levi or Levi has no portion nor inheritance with his brothers. And listen to this. Yahuwah is his inheritance, as Yahuwah your Elohim promised him. And I put myself in the situation that of the Levites. And I think it's a tremendous blessing And it's a tremendous decision to make as well if we have the chance to make that decision. In this case, we didn't have the chance. Yahuwah decided to take them and to become his inheritance, their inheritance. And, can you imagine such a blessing, an amazing blessing, that I'm not receiving any land. I'm not receiving any physical inheritance. I'm not receiving the same promises and the same gifts that my brothers are receiving. My portion, my inheritance is Yahuwah Elohim. And when you stop a minute and think a bit about that, it's so profound that Yahuwah is their inheritance. They have this special gift to have the inheritance, Yahuwah being their inheritance. And I'm wondering, what was in their heart when they received those words, that they were not going to receive land, but they were going to receive the inheritance directly. Yahuwah was going to be their portion. If I put myself in their shoes, I cannot contain my heart, understanding that even not understanding, because this is so big that I think is not our minds are not able to understand and comprehend what it means to have Yahuwah as an inheritance. But with the little that we can understand, it's so beautiful that it doesn't matter the rest. It doesn't matter that our brothers and sisters are receiving land and physical inheritance. It doesn't matter anything of that. What it matters is that Yahuwah has chosen us. And this is something that if we compare to what Yahushua had done for us, we can understand those words of Yahushua HaMashiach saying that we should not be fearful or be so attentive or so preoccupied of everything that's happening in the world and everything of our physical needs, because Yahuwah will give us and He will take care of our needs. That we need to seek first the kingdom of Yahuwah and His righteousness. That if we find, the kingdom of Yahuwah is like this special treasure that this woman found, and he sold everything else in order to have this treasure. There's another parable, this person that, found the treasure in the land and he sold everything else in order to buy that land. This is exactly what needs to be our attitude. That means to seek and follow Him with priority in our lives. Because this is exactly what it means that He is becoming the inheritance and the portion. And this is so profound, even to the point that we understand that we have been called out to be priests and kings. So I don't know what's going to be. It's my belief, I'm going to share this, I can be totally wrong, but it's my belief that we are going to receive different type of inheritance and promises. And, I don't know how and why it's going to be, and what are the conditions, and what's going to be the way to decide this, and how Yahushua will do it, because He will do it, is that some people will be inheriting in different places. Until we see this in the book of Ezekiel, I will go there in a minute. But let's remind ourselves, we have been called out to be priests. And if they were called out and they didn't receive a promise of a land, but Yahuwah became their portion, is that Yahuwah is our portion too, because we are priests with Yahushua HaMashiach. So, and this is being reinforced, this idea in the book of Numbers. Let's go there. This is Bemidbar in Hebrew, chapter 18, verse 20. And it says the following. And Yahuwah said to Aaron, "You are not to have an inheritance in their land, nor have any portion in their midst. I am your portion and your inheritance among the children of Israel. And even in the book of Joshua, if we go to the chapter 13, verse 33, at the end of this chapter, it's reinforcing exactly the same idea. But to the tribe of Levi, or Levi, Moshe gave no inheritance. Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, he was their inheritance, as he had said to them. So, I was saying a minute ago that just the fact to understand that Yahuwah became their portion. Yahuwah is our portion if we're priests together with Yahushua. It is so beautiful to see what's going to happen on the end times, that where they are going to live. And they're understanding that, we understand even a bigger picture about such an amazing blessing they got. So let's go together to the book of Ezekiel. And once again, I forgot to tell you this for a while. No matter that I'm using the software, the Eastward, and that I put in the screen, that is amazing software. If you have the chance to donate to the brother that he created this, go and do that, because it's an amazing tool. And you can search in different places, different versions of the scripture. It's an amazing tool that is free. So go and try it. If you can help the brother in order to continue this work, is gonna be important. But what's the point? No matter that I'm using the Eastword, I like to have my my written word here. I'm old-fashioned most probably, because no matter that I can read in the screens, nothing replaced to have the written word here in my hand, and to start digging in and looking for information. But I can complement both things, because it's important and it's useful to have these tools as well. But I invite you to take your written, your physical word, your written word, and to start digging in, looking to the verses together with me. What is the link for this word? Let me look for it. Just give me a second, because I think it is an important tool. It has been a blessing for me for years already. So, okay. That's the link for this word, in case you want to go and check. So, coming back to the point. So, looking into the inheritance of the Levites is so amazing and so beautiful. And let's go to look into it, to the book of Ezekiel, Yehezkel in Hebrew. And this is in the chapter 48. Chapter 48, verse 8 to 12. And the book of Ezekiel at the end is something that is going so aligned to what we're studying today of Israel, the children of Israel, Bnei Yisrael, inheriting the land. Because what we see in the last few chapters of the book of Ezekiel is exactly the same. Is we see Israel dividing the land. The division of the land is going to be in a different pattern. Not the same pattern that we see that happened in this book. It's going to be in a different pattern, and you can read by yourself in the last few chapters, 47, 46 of Ezekiel, how we see that happening. But specifically in the chapter 48, verse 8 to 12, is talking about the Levites. And let's read it together. So it says the following. And by the border of Yehuda, from the east side to the west, is the contribution, is the terumah, contribution, which you offer up, 25,000 cubits in width, and in length the same as one of the portions, from the east side to the west, with a set-apart place in its midst. The contribution that you offer up to Yahuwah is 25,000 cubits in length and 10,000 in width. If you read in context the chapter 47 and chapter 48, we understand that part of the instruction on how the land will be divided on the end times as part of the establishment of the kingdom of Yahuwah, that they will need to offer up a contribution, a terumah of land. And this contribution, this is exactly what it's talking about in these few verses. This contribution, in the middle of this contribution, in this piece of land that is becoming the contribution of the people of Yisrael, the contribution for Yahuwah, is going to be the set apart place. That's everything it's talking about. And just keep in mind, what is the set apart place? It's the Hechal, the temple of Yahuwah. So that's the so special situation of this place, of this piece of land, this contribution. So let's continue reading. Verse 10. And of this is the set apart contribution for the priest. Of the north, 25,000 cubits, and on the west 10,000 in width, and on the east 10,000 in width, and on the south 25,000 in length. And the set apart place of Yahuwah shall be in its midst. For the priests of the sons of Zadok, who are set apart, who did guard my charge, who did not go astray when the children of Israel went astray, as the Levite went astray. So this contribution shall be to them from the contribution of the land, a most set apart place by the border of the Levites. Can you understand what we are reading? Is that in this special place, this special piece of land that will become the contribution, the priests are going to live there. If you continue reading the entire chapter, we understand that the king will live there. So the priest, the portion they got is the portion of Yahuwah. The portion they got is to be closer to Yahuwah and his presence. So it's such an amazing blessing when we understand all of this. I don't know what's going to be my role in the kingdom in the future. I don't know what's going to be your role. I don't know what's going to be my inheritance in the kingdom. I don't know what's going to be your inheritance. I don't know if I'm going to live in this special place, in this special piece of land. I don't know if you are going to live in this special piece of land. What I know, that the promises of Yahuwah are so true and are so great that it's my prayer to be considered to live in that place. And if I'm not considered to be in that place and to live in that place, even though my heart's going to be so joyful, because there's no doubt that we are going to live and we are going to inherit part of the place of Yahuwah. It's going to be a tremendous honor. And it's sometimes I think on this. I will share with you. When I compare myself with the servants of Yahuwah from old, the disciples, the Nevi'im, the prophets, the patriarchs, that they were serving Yahuwah in such a way. I do believe that they have a much greater honor than me to inherit that place, to be closer to Yahuwah. I don't want to diminish myself and to be that humble, but talking reality, they did such amazing things for Yahuwah. And sometimes, we are going with so many difficulties and doubts and so on. They gave everything for Yahuwah. They were persecuted because of believing on the way of Yahuwah. I cannot compare myself to them. Even actually, I look into them in order to be at least something similar to what they did. So, I think if we have to think in somebody that had the honor to be in that place, there are so many people and servants of Yahuwah in the past that they had that honor. But this is something that, it's like the parable of the talents. Few of them receive one received 10, the other one 5, 1, and so on. So we need to be joyful in our heart that we are going to be part of all of this that we are reading. But there's going to be a special people that's going to be closer to Yahuwah. And let's seek for that special honor. You know, nobody knows. We will know at the moment that Yahushua will be here with us implementing the kingdom, establishing the kingdom of Yahuwah. So let's go back to the book of Joshua and chapter 14. Let's continue reading. And it says in the verse 6, And the children of Yehudah came to Yahushua in Gilgal, and Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, said to him, You know the word which Yahuwah said to Moshe, the man of Elohim, concerning you and me in Kadesh Barnea. I was 40 years old when Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to spy out the land. And I brought back word to him as it was in my heart. By my brothers, who went up with me, made the heart of the people melt, but I followed Yahuwah my Elohim completely. So Moshe swore on that day, saying, The land of which your foot has trodden is your inheritance, and your children's forever, because you have followed Yahuwah my Elohim completely. And now, see, Yahuwah has kept me alive, as he said these 45 years since Yahuwah spoke this word to Moshe while Yisrael walked in the wilderness. And now see, I am 85 years old today. Yet, I am still as strong today as I was on the day that Moshe sent me. As my strength was then, so my strength is now for battle, and for going out and for coming in. And now, give me this mountain of which Yahuwah spoke in that day, for you heard in that day how the Anakim were there, and that the cities were great and walled. If Yahuwah is with me, then I shall dispossess them, as Yahuwah said. I'm going to read completely because this is so beautiful what Caleb is saying. Let's continue. Yahushua then blessed him and gave Hebron to Caleb, son of Jephunneh, as an inheritance. So Hebron became the inheritance of Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, to this day, because he followed Yahuwah Elohim of Yisra'el completely. Now the name of Hebron was formerly Kiriath Arba. Arba was the greatest man among the Anakim, and the land had rest from fighting. You know, this is such an amazing example of a servant of Yahuwah. This is an amazing example of what needs to be our attitude in these days. In different aspects, you know, not only because he had this amazing and great faith and belief in Yahuwah. Not only that, because, you know, also because he wasn't fearful. He was 85 years old and he wanted to conquer the land of and this mountain where the descendant of the Anakim, the giants, were living. So he didn't have fear in his heart. He believed in Yahuwah. This is exactly what needs to be our attitude, what needs to be in our heart. And, you know, there's a few passages that they came to my mind, and I'm going to do a comparison in a minute because it's important to see the differences. But, you know, if we go to the book of Philippians, and this is just to connect with the Brit Hadashah, the New Testament, when we see the attitude of Caleb. Let's go to the chapter 4, verse 12 and verse 13. And here Shaul is speaking about how he has been learning how to live content with what Yahuwah has given them in different situations of his life. You can read this in context and you will see exactly this. But he is saying in the verse 12 the following: I know what it is to be humbled, and I know what it is to have in excess. In any and every situation, I have learned both to be filled and to be hungry, both to have in excess and to be in need. And listen to this: I have strength to do all through Messiah, who empowers me. I have strength to do all through Messiah who empowers me. I think we need to take these words into our hearts and to remember the attitude of Caleb that no matter the situation that we are going through, no matter that we are going living in excess or we are being in need, no matter that we are being persecuted or we are living in peace, no matter that we are living in the middle of troubles or we are living in the middle of happiness, we need to understand that everything that's going through our lives is the will of Yahuwah. And we need to seek his face in order to understand the reason behind what we are going through, because there's always a purpose. But even in the situations, in the more difficult situations, we need to remember the attitude of Caleb and also the words of Shaul. And that we need to understand that we have the strength to do everything if we do it according to the way of Yahuwah, because Yahushua has given us the strength. That's why Caleb understood, and this is exactly what he was saying. And let me go back once again, because this is so amazing what he said. That he was comparing. I was 40 years old when Moshe, the servant of Yahuwah, sent me, and we understand this story, and we remember the story of the 12 spies. And he's saying even below. It says, "Yet I am still as strong today as I was on the day that Moshe sent me. As my strength was then, so my strength is now for battle." He was 85 years old. He was saying that he was strength enough in the same way that he was strength in the past in order to go and conquer the land. He was feeling the strength of Yahuwah. He was believing in Yahuwah. He was prepared with the battle gear, with the belief that Yahuwah was with him. Even he mentioned here in the verse 12, "If Yahuwah is with me, then I shall dispossess them," as Yahuwah said. He was believing in Yahuwah. He was following Yahuwah completely. He had no doubt that Yahuwah was with him. And there's another passage in the book of Isaiah that came to my mind when I was preparing this portion. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, Yeshayahu in Hebrew, chapter 40. And this is going along to what I'm saying. This is in the chapter 40, verse 27 to 31. And it says the following. And this is Yahuwah speaking through Yeshayahu. "Why do you say, O Yaakov, and speak, O Yisra'el? My way is hidden from Yahuwah, and my rights are overlooked by my Elohim. Did you not know? Have you not heard? The everlasting Elohim, Yahuwah, the creator of the ends of the earth, neither faints nor is weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to those who have no might, he increases strength. Even youths shall faint and be weary, and young men stumble and fall. But those who wait on Yahuwah renew their strength. They raise up the wing like eagles. They run and are not weary. They walk and do not faint." Those who wait on Yahuwah, those who follow Yahuwah completely in the same way that Caleb did, those who wait on Yahuwah renew their strength. Yahuwah renew the strength of his people. We need to wait on Yahuwah in these times of troubles. If you are going through difficulties, close your eyes, wait on Yahuwah. Put your heart in peace. Try to give that burden to Yahushua HaMashiach. He will help you. It's not easy, I know. My mind sometimes is going crazy with thoughts all over the place, and it's very difficult to get to this waiting mode. But those are the times that we need to demonstrate and show what is really in our hearts. In those times is when we need to close our eyes and we need to seek for that resting place in Yahuwah's presence and to wait on Him to give us the strength in these times of difficulties and in any difficulties and any challenge that is coming on the way. We need to wait on Yahuwah because He is going to restore our strength. He will be with us if we follow Him completely. No matter that we need to fight with 3 giants as Caleb was doing, no matter that we need to conquer the city of Hebron where they have this stronghold of the giants, if we believe that Yahuwah is giving us the strength, and if we believe that Yahuwah is with us, we will conquer those places. We will conquer our problems, and we will inherit the land. So, there's a other aspect that I see here that I want to share with you. And but before that, let me share with you some an additional thought, and this is part of the beautiful part of the studying the word of Yahuwah. I told you that it is written that we are going to inherit the kingdom of Yahuwah. We are going to inherit the land once again, in the same way that we see it here happening. So I want us to go to the book of Ezekiel once again. Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 47. And this is such an amazing picture that it shows the heart of Yahuwah. That we can believe that we can be bloodline descendants of the tribe of Yisra'el. We don't know, because the 10 tribes were lost. And I think Yahuwah has been doing an amazing work throughout the years in order to restore His people. So we don't know. Maybe we are blood descendants of the 10 lost tribes of Israel, or maybe not. We will know in the future. Yahuwah, through Yahushua, will reveal this to us in the future. But even in the situation that we are not blood descendant of the 10 lost tribes of Israel, we know what's in the heart of Yahuwah in order to give us the promises and the inheritance of the kingdom. And we see this clearly in the chapter 47 of the book of Ezekiel, and this is exactly the place that I want us to go now. So let's go to Ezekiel chapter 47, verse 21 to 23. And it says the following: "And you shall divide this land among yourself according to the tribes of Israel." It's exactly what we see happening in this portion in the book of Joshua. They started to divide the land among the different tribes. So this is going to happen once again, as it is written here. So it says in the verse 22, "And it shall be that you divide it by lot as an inheritance for yourselves, and for the strangers who sojourn in your midst, and who bear children among you. And they shall be to you as native born among the children of Israel. With you they have an inheritance in the midst of the tribes. And it shall be that in whatever tribe the stranger sojourns, there you give him his inheritance, declares the Adon Yahuwah." You see what is in the heart of Abba. You see how tough, how good He is. That no matter that maybe we're not blood descendants, through Yahushua HaMashiach, we are being grafted in His kingdom. And He is so beautiful in His promises that even we are going to be able to decide in the place we want to inherit. We are going to be able to decide in which tribe we want to belong for the sojourners. And they are going to receive inheritance as well. So this is exactly what is in the heart of Yahuwah. So how we are not going to serve him, how we are not going to look and seek for those promises. And especially in these times that is so difficult outside. Once my daughter told me that I was so focused in the last days, in the fulfillment of the last days. And she told me something that I think it talked to my heart. And sometimes we made that mistake. That we focus on the fulfillment and the coming destructions of the world and the coming fulfillment of the destruction according to the prophecies of Revelations and so on, because we know that that storm will come. And the calm after the storm will be wonderful, because that calm is coming by the hand of Yahushua, and it's going to be the shalom that the earth is waiting for, the shalom that is coming with the kingdom of Yahuwah. But sometimes we are so focused on that, on the fulfillment of those prophecies, in the what's going on in the world, the persecution, the mark of the beast, and so on, that we forget the most important message that Yahushua brought to the earth, the everlasting message that is the good news, the everlasting message of the kingdom of Yahuwah, the everlasting message of his promises, and the world to come, the righteousness to come, the peace to come. We need to focus on that, and especially in these times of troubles, in order to not to entertain our mind in the difficulties we are going through, in order to avoid entertaining our mind in the thoughts of the persecution and so on. We need to fill our mind with that everlasting message and with those everlasting promises. It is written all over the place in the scripture that the servants of Yahuwah, like Abraham, they put their eyes in the promises. They put their eyes in the hope. And we have the perfect example in Yahushua HaMashiach. No matter that he knew what he was going to go through death, and a very painful death, he put his eyes in the purpose, in the final purpose, and in the fulfillment. That is the kingdom of Yahuwah and the promises and the seed he planted. So, how to go through these difficulties is to read passages like this that we have in the screen now. Understanding and reminding ourselves what is in the heart of Yahuwah, that he wants the entire world to be saved. Reminding ourselves this everlasting message and the promises that he made to us through his servants, especially through Yahushua HaMashiach. And we need to hold fast to the promises, setting our eyes on those and not in what's going on in the world. And as I told you at the beginning, we cannot take part of any of the groups that's currently in the world. We need to observe. We need to be vigilant. We need to be a watcher in the world. We need to understand in order to discern the times, but not to let those thoughts to go in our heart, in our mind, and to take full attention. Because what needs to be full attention in our hearts, in our mind, are the promises and the everlasting message of Yahuwah, and also to fulfill our purpose, to shine the light of Yahuwah in this world. So, Yahuwah is amazing, amazing Elohim. He will give inheritance even to the sojourners, the foreigners. They are going to be considered native born in the land. Okay, so one thing that I have here that is important to mention, and these are nuggets that we need to use it. We have several examples, and we were discussing here early at home that in the way that Caleb was talking, I think it's something that they reminded us in the way that David was writing the Tehillim, the Psalms, in the way that Moshe was talking to Elohim. It's a kind of a bargain situation. I don't like to use the word, but it's the best way to say it. And this is exactly what Caleb was doing. And let's go just to show it to you. So it says, in the way that Caleb was starting, he was telling Joshua ben Nun, and he was saying, the word, Joshua, the word which Yahuwah said to Moshe, the man of Elohim, concerning you and me in Kadesh Barnea. And we go back to the book of Bemidbar, Numbers. We understand, I think this is the chapter 15. That's the whole story about what happened and was this evil report that the 10 tribes, the 10 spies brought to the people. What happened, and because of that situation, they needed to stay for 40 more years in the wilderness. It's unbelievable. And we know that the only ones that brought the good report, and talking about the good news that we were speaking of a minute ago, they were bringing good news. And what Caleb was saying in the verse 7, it says, I brought back word to him as it was in my heart. He was speaking from his heart. He was speaking what was in his heart. That's why we need to pray to Yahuwah to change our heart, to be according to his heart, in order to bring those good news and good words. So, but the point is that he was telling and reminding, this is what I did for Yahuwah. I brought a good report. I brought a good word. And it says, but my brothers who went up with me made the heart of the people melt. But I follow Yahuwah my Elohim completely. So Moshe swore on that day, saying, the land of which your foot has trodden is your inheritance and your children's forever, because you have followed Yahuwah my Elohim completely. And after reminding Joshua ben Nun about everything he did for Yahuwah and all the promises of Yahuwah, he was telling Joshua ben Nun, and now see, Yahuwah has kept me alive. As he said, these 45 years since Yahuwah spoke this word to Moshe while Yisrael walked in the wilderness. And now see, I am 85 years old today. And what he's asking after that, and now give me this mountain. Give me this promise. So what's the point that I want to make? And sometimes we may mistake in the way that we speak to Yahuwah. All of us, including myself. We have a perfect example in the case of Caleb. We need to be respectful for Yahuwah for sure. That's always. But Caleb is telling, this is everything that I did for you. This is everything that I did. I follow you completely. You made me a promise. You promised me something. Give me that promise now. And now that I think now and I'm feeling it in my heart, this is so relevant today. It's important today. Because if you are going through difficulties, this is the way you need to pray to Yahuwah. You need to tell him, Yahuwah, I have served you all these years. Yahuwah, I have given my life to you all these years. Yahuwah, I have followed you completely. Yahuwah, I have brought good report of your truth. Give me of your promises. Protect me. Guide me. Give me wisdom and discernment. Because those are your promises to me. You know, I think it is a perfect example in the life of Caleb. And we know that Moses was doing it as well. David was doing it. Maybe this is something that we need to start doing it in these times. Asking Abba to hear our voice. And if we have done something for him, there's nothing wrong to tell him what we have done for him. There's nothing wrong to ask him to fulfill his promises to us. This is part of our faith. This is the way that Caleb was doing it. Because he followed Yahuwah completely. He believed in Yahuwah till the end. And we have Yahushua in our side. So let's start praying this way. If you are going through difficulties, pray in this way. Yahuwah will listen to your voice. Because he listened to his servants in the past. He listened to Caleb. And we know in the chapter 15 that Caleb conquered that mountain. And you know, Hebron is so an important place. And we were looking into the scripture because Hebron, you know, Abraham was living in Hebron. Even Sarah, that is so representative, she died in Hebron, in Kiryat Arba. And even David, this amazing king, he was reigning. His kingdom was in Hebron the first 7 years. So Hebron is such an amazing and an important place. We're debating here at home because, you know, Hebron was the place, and that's why Caleb was asking for this mountain. Because when they were to spy the land, if you go and read in the book of Bemidbar, they went to Hebron. So that's why he was claiming this as part of the promise. And they were bringing part of the fruit of the land. And we know that this entire story that we're studying during the Torah cycle. Can you imagine with these people, these giants living there? They were, they were in much need than us in terms of food, in terms of water, and so on. So, and actually, their stature was much higher. They were giants. So the city they were living on, this is just speculation and thinking logically, was a big city. So I can imagine that Hebron was a big stronghold. And not only that, the supply they had in Hebron, in terms of food, in terms of water, needed to be so great in order to feed these giants. So in that city, most probably, they had such plenty of things. So it was such a blessing for Caleb. So again, he put his eyes into the promise. It's like to see the glass with water. I don't know how to say it in English, but you know what I mean. It's basically to see half of the cup with water instead of seeing part of the cup without water. He was seeing into the promise, not into the problem. And this needs to be our attitude, to see how to. Thank you, Camila. It's half full. Thank you. So we need to see the promises, and that we need to understand that Yahuwah can give us the strength in order to conquer those promises. If we put our eyes in the problems, we are going to fail. And then, this needs to be our attitude in life as well, not only thinking on the kingdom of Yahuwah. So one thing that I want to highlight, and I think this is one of the points that I wanted to share with you as well, is that is do a comparison to in terms of the attitude. Is that when we go to the chapter 17, and this is an interesting thing, when it's talking about the portions of Ephraim and Menashe. Let me look for it. Here in the verse 14. And the children of Joseph spoke to Yahushua, saying, Why have you given us but one lot and one portion to inherit? Seeing we are a great people whom Yahuwah has blessed until now. And Yahushua said to them, If you are a great people, go up to the forest and clear a place for yourself, there in the land of the Perizzites and the Rephaites, since the hill country of Ephraim is too narrow for you. Then the children of Joseph said, The hill country is not enough for us, and all the Canaanites who dwell in the land of the valley have chariots of iron, both those who are of Beth Shean and its towns, and those who are of the valley of Yisra'el. And Yahushua spoke to the house of Joseph, to Ephraim and to Menashe, saying, You are a great people, and have great power. You are not to have one lot. For the hill country shall be yours. For though it is a forest, you shall cut it down, and its farthest limits shall be yours. For you are to drive out the Canaanites, though they have iron chariots and are strong. So what's the comparison that I want to bring here is the attitude of the children of Ephraim and Menashe and the attitude of Caleb. You know, Caleb was 85 years old, but he was so strong in faith that he believes that Yahuwah was with him, and he was not fearful of the enemy. He knew that if Yahuwah was with him, he's going to be able to conquer the land, because he was acknowledging that the strength of Yahuwah was with him. But we have this other side of the coin with the children of Ephraim and Menashe, that they were afraid. They didn't want to have this fight. And you know, we see it all over the place, this portion, at least in 3 places, that, they were not able, the children of Israel, to drive out the nations. That part of the nations, of the 7 nations, they were living among them. And, we will continue in the story, most probably in the next book, in the book of Judges, Shofetim, how this was creating such a big problem in the children of Israel, because these nations were leading astray Israel from the right path. And we know that they had an instruction that they needed to remove completely all these nations, but they didn't fulfill that word. I do believe because of something, because Yahushua HaMashiach is going to be the one fulfilling the word at the end and the destruction at the end. But they didn't do it back then. And and this is a beautiful and amazing picture about, we discussed this in the first portion or second portion of this book, about removing sin from the assembly. If we don't remove sin among us, that sin will contaminate us, and it will deviate us from the way of Yahuwah. This is exactly what happened in Israel. But in this case, these 2 tribes, they were afraid. They didn't put the faith and the belief in Yahuwah. They were just using their physical eyes to see the enemy and the strength of the enemy. In comparison, we see Caleb using his spiritual eyes to understand that Yahuwah was with him. And this is, to us, we need to decide which one we want to be. We want to be like Caleb. We want to be like these 2 tribes. And when I was reading this, it's something that came to my mind I want to share with you. And because we see this attitude as well in the Brit Hadashah. And this story that we know by heart is in the book of Matthew, chapter 13, Matthew, chapter 13, verse 20 and 22. Let's go there. Sorry, let's go 14 first. Matthew 14, verse 25, verse 31. So it says the following. And in the fourth watch of the night, Yahushua went to them, walking on the sea. And when the 12 ones, the disciples, saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, It is a phantom. And from fear they cried. But immediately Yahushua spoke to them, saying, Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid. And Kepha answered him and said, Master, if it is you, command me to come to you on the water. And he said, Come. And when Kepha had come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Yahushua. You know, here we see the first example is the attitude of Caleb in the life of Kepha. He wasn't afraid at all. He knew that Yahushua was by his side. He knew that if Yahushua was commanding him to go, he was going to walk on water as well. That's the attitude of Caleb. That's the attitude we need to have. But we know how the story ends. Let's continue. It says, But when Kepha, Peter, saw that the wind was strong, he was afraid. And beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, Master, save me. And immediately Yahushua stretched out his hand and took hold of him, and said to him, Oh, you of little belief, why did you doubt? I don't want Yahushua to repeat the same questions to me. Oh, you of little belief, why did you doubt? I don't want to doubt. I want to believe. You know, Peter, Kepha saw the strong wind. He saw the storm coming. He saw these big waves coming to him. He put his eyes on the strength of the enemy, in the same way that Ephraim and Manasseh were doing. They were afraid. We need to understand. And I'm not gonna use my words. I'm gonna use the words of Yahushua HaMashiach. That we cannot put our eyes in the world and in everything that's happening. This is what Yahushua said in the chapter 13 of the same book, the book of Matthew, chapter 20 to 22. And that sown on the rocky places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has not root in himself, but is short-lived, and when pressure or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. And that sown among the thorns is he who hears the word, and the worry of this age and the deceit of riches choke the word, and it becomes fruitless. If we are so worried about what's going on in the world, and we're so fearful, we are going to be like this type of land, the rocky places or the land with thorns, while we need to be a good land in order for the seed to be multiplied. And that's why we need to meditate day by day what is in our heart. We need to meditate day by day if we are doubting or if we are concerned or fearful. And if we find ourselves in that situation, we need to wait on Yahuwah. We need to seek his face. We need to put our eyes on the promises. We need to understand that Yahuwah is the one giving us the strength. Last point that I have here, and this is also putting the eyes on the promises. And I'm just going to highlight it, but we will expand in this point later on the portions. I don't know if it's coming in this book of Joshua, or maybe in the next one is the book of Judges, Shofetim in Hebrew. It's what is written. I think it's in the chapter 15. Let me look for it. Of the book of Joshua. Wasn't prepared on this point, but we're going to look for it anyways. Yes, it's in the chapter 15. Let's go to Joshua chapter 15, verse 8. And this is describing the borders and the limits of the portion for Judah. And it says the following. And the border went up by the valley of the son of Hinnom. This is Gehinnom, that later on was translated to Gehenna, and later on was translated to hell. It's important to highlight. It says, and the border went up by the valley of the son of Hinnom to the southern slope of the Jebusite city, that is Jerusalem. And the border went up to the top of the mountain that lies before the valley of Hinnom westward, which is at the end of the valley of the Rephaim westward. So we see here that the border of Yehuda was just at the limit of the Jebusite city that became Jerusalem. And why I'm highlighting this is because actually there is another mention here. Let's go to the last passage. It says, as for the Jebusites, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the children of Yehuda were unable to drive them out. So the Jebusites have dwelt with the children of Yehuda at Jerusalem to this day. What's the point that I want to highlight, and we will see it later on, is that Jerusalem wasn't part of the tribe of Judah. Jerusalem wasn't part of the inheritance of Yehuda. Jerusalem was at the border, at the limit of the tribe of Judah, but it wasn't part of it. And why I'm saying this, in case you have not studied this in the past, is that it's important that in the future Jerusalem became the central piece of the government of Yisrael, but wasn't part of Yehuda, no matter that Yehuda was the one reigning. And that means that Jerusalem became this special place with specific people living in it. I expand this understanding, I think, in one of the studies of in the last days, when I was talking about the identity of the woman of Revelation 12. But I think we will go through that understanding if Yahuwah permits, also as part of this portion. So, but keep in mind, Jerusalem was at the border, wasn't part of the inheritance and the portion of Yehuda. So, brothers and sisters, this is what I have to share today. I think I'm convinced that it was Yahuwah's will that we had to study the book of Joshua. I remember discussing with Rob in the past here in Virtual House Church that was the intention, to continue moving forward, not to reinitiate the cycle of Torah, is to continue with the next books of the Word. And there's no doubt in my heart that that was the purpose of Yahuwah. And all praise to him that he put that in Rob's heart, in my heart, to continue doing it, because everything that we have been studying so far in this book is serving two purposes. First purpose is to see in practical terms how all Torah, all the instruction he gave to his people and is giving to his people even till today, is being to put into practice here in the book of Joshua. This is one thing. And the second and most important one that I do believe that everything that Abba has been sharing with us through this study of this book is somehow to prepare us on the time that we are living. You know, the first portion was be strong and courageous. And I think if we want to resume and summarize the book of Joshua so far, it's in those words: be strong and courageous. And I think it was in just purpose to put in our heart to study this book exactly because of that, because we need to be strong and courageous. You know, it's been a blessing for me so far, because every word that we have been sharing till today in this book has been speaking to my heart, preparing myself for the time we are living. You know, even today, I didn't prepare, I just prepared a few points, and then just I didn't prepare everything, single piece of word that I wanted to share with you. And I find myself amazed with what Yahuwah is speaking first to me and then to you. That we need to put our eyes in the promises, not in the troubles that we are seeing. And we need to wait in His promises and wait on Him, to follow Him completely. That's going to be the only way that we're going to inherit the land, that we're going to inherit the promises. So it's my prayer that this is blessing you as well. Keep the body of Mashiach in your prayers. We need this more than ever. What's coming to the world is going to be difficult, but we are children of light, and we have promises, everlasting promises, in our pocket. And not only in our pocket, in our heart. I forgot to mention, my father was telling me about this vision, dream he had, that this angel was telling him about the worst thing is coming to the world. And then he saw two angels. I forgot to mention the second part. And he didn't receive much more information. Because it was interesting that this angel that was telling him that he needed to be prepared because more things and difficult things are coming to the world. My father was asking in the dream for more information, but this angel said that he wasn't able to share more, because there was a second angel that needed to allow to share more information. It was the second angel in the dream. And this angel was having a smile in his peaceful smile in his face, he told me. But only on that part the dream finished. So we know challenges are increasing. Challenges will increase. But also the compassion, the strength, the faith of Yahuwah will increase if we are prepared for that. So let's seek together the kingdom of Yahuwah. Let's seek together the Ruach of Yahuwah. No matter where we are, no matter the distance, let's understand that we are His people. Let's understand that we are the people of Yahuwah. Let's understand that the promises of Yahuwah are true. Let's put our eyes all together as one nation that will become a reality soon. We are in the dispersion today, but even in the dispersion, we are Echad in the Ruach HaKodesh. So, as the nation of Yahuwah that we are, let's be Echad, let's be one, in order to pray for everybody else. I don't know how long we are going to be able to continue doing Virtual House Church. Most probably these platforms are not going to be able to continue in one moment or the other. Let's enjoy this platform and this space, this platform for the time being. But let's understand that we don't need and we don't rely on these platforms. We rely on something more powerful. And that's the Ruach of Yahuwah in our hearts. We rely on the Creator of the heaven and earth, that is much powerful than everything else. So even if we are not able to connect each other, we need to understand in the same way that Caleb was understanding that we are Echad in Yahuwah, that we are the people of Yahuwah, and the Ruach is with us. That we are connected, that we are together, that I'm here, you are there. We have different people and brothers and sisters around the world. And if we pray together, with one mind, with one heart, things will happen. So, now more than ever, let's put our eyes in the promises. Let's fulfill our part. Let's become that nation of Yahuwah. Because we need it, not only we need it, the world need it as well. We are the salt of the earth and the light of the world. So, brothers and sisters, thank you so much for joining me today in this virtual house church. Been a blessing. I hope it's going to be a blessing to you that is here, have been with me here, or you that are watching this offline. I hope this is a blessing to you all. Share this video with others, with your family. Pray for me to have more time. I have a few projects in my heart that I would like to do, but sometimes it's very difficult to commit times in order to continue a project. But Yahuwah knows. Yahuwah will give everything we need. But just keep me in your prayers as the entire body of Mashiach. So, brothers and sisters, always, we're gonna finish this broadcast with the Aaronic blessing done by Adam from the parable of the vineyard and Jake. And I'm gonna pray to Yahuwah for you to have a wonderful Shavua, a wonderful week. And if you're still having few hours of Shabbat, enjoy these few hours. I'm still having sun here, at least for 2 more hours. So I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm in a beautiful place. I will show you a video maybe with a few words just to see, for you to see in the beautiful place I am. So I'm gonna enjoy the rest of Shabbat. I hope you will enjoy as well. So here we go with the Aaronic blessing. Thank you so much to be with me, and Yahuwah be with you all.
יברכך יחוה וישמרך יאר יחוה פניו לך וחונקה יישא יחוה פניו לך לך שלום יסייחו עיניו לך ויעשה לך שלום ויעשה לך שלום ויעשה לך שלום.
Yahuwah bless you and keep you. Yahuwah make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up his countenance upon you and give shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah, lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace.
Yahuwah te bendiga y te guarde. Yahuwah haga resplandecer su rostro en ti y tenga de ti compasión. Yahuwah alce su rostro sobre